everybody, Sally Thompson from Synergy Partners here on the next edition of our CCI checking in videos. Today I'm speaking with Brian Horlick of Horlick Levitt Delela, and we're going to check in with Brian and see how life is in the pandemic situation. So Brian, I'll start you off with a general question. You know, how are you and how's your business doing during this pandemic?
Well, I'm doing fine. I think with the fact that the City of Toronto has just moved into stage 2 of the reopening of the province of Ontario, things are looking up. It's been, I would say, tough going with COVID, starting in March, and everything basically closed up, and it was pretty awful, really, for the first time, I guess, in my life, wondering if there was going to be enough food in the food store. Never could believe that, you know, I'd ever feel insecure about buying food, wondering if I should have, quote unquote, stockpiled like a lot of other people did. I didn't want to do that. So it was a very odd feeling. You know, you watch on the news as we sit here so comfortably in Toronto or in Canada, where we never have issues about food, and you never go into a store and the shelves are barren. And here we are, or there we were, going into the store and not really being happy about going into the store with a mask on and gloves on. And, you know, for the life of me, I just couldn't believe you couldn't get so many things that you normally take for granted. I went to the store many times to buy flour, or I couldn't buy flour, to look for flour because, you know, people wanted to do some baking, trying to buy things as simple as pasta, and that was gone. A lot of the dried things were gone. So it was really it shook your confidence somehow, in that things that you always have seen and always expected to see were no longer there. So that was, you know, one of the first, you know, jarring things.
Yeah.
Of course, with, you know, the pandemic, the way it came, and it came so suddenly, you know, shortly thereafter, one of our, you know, very good presidents of a condominium board passed away from COVID. So that was another shock. I had just seen this person about 3 weeks before, 55 years old, healthy, vibrant, great guy. And, you know, to hear that he'd passed away was shocking. So this really took a toll. I can tell you that when I went to, I don't know if it was a basketball game or a hockey game, about March the 12th, March the 10th, something like that. And I was wondering to myself, should I be here? Because it started, people really at that point in time started to, you know, talk about this pandemic and this virus, and a lot of people, you know, were wondering about it. Some people thought it was, you know, nothing to be taken too seriously, but really and truly it was there. So, you know, a lot of bad things started to spiral from there. I remember I went to my my band practice on March the 12th, on that night. I remember because it was my wife's birthday and she was angry with me. And I said, you know, I want to go to the band tonight. One of the people that plays in the band told me her husband's a doctor, and she said she's not going. And she counseled me, you don't go. It's not a good thing to do. And again, you know, I was in this, well, everybody's being so melodramatic stage, you know. So I went there, and after we practiced for the first hour, the band had a meeting, and everybody was like poo-pooing this COVID thing. And I said, you know, it's like, well, it's okay, you know, we're gonna come here and we'll wash the music stand, so we'll all be good. And I said, you know, guys, I said, I don't know, you know, in what world or what you guys do for a living, but I'm gonna tell you this. Right now, in the condo world, people have shut down all their amenities. People are concerned. People are not going out to AGMs, to meetings, and people are considering wearing masks and gloves. So I think it's really an issue that it's much more than cleaning your music stand. Yeah. And we all had a chat, and to make matters worse, where we were rehearsing was attached to a long-term care facility. So that was the last band rehearsal.
No
Everybody
kidding. Well, good for
decided at
you
that
guys.
point, we got an email the next day, done, finished, and everything closed up. So, as far as I was concerned, once it shouldn't have been, but once I think it was the NBA closed, everybody said, uh-oh, we better take this seriously. And from that point, I got an email from Bradley Chaplick, my senior associate in the office, and his wife is a doctor. So this guy knew everything.
Uh-oh.
He sends me an email a week before the NBA closed up. And he writes this email like I thought it was like it's time to get like an ark and get Noah in the backyard and to get some animals into this boat because that's where we're going, Noah's Ark. And I thought he was nuts. I still have the email. He says, okay, it's starting now. This is what he writes me. It's starting now. We have only this weekend to get our files out of the office. Our office will be closed. The city will be shut down. There'll be no more food in the stores. And it goes on and on and on. I said, I tell you something. I said to myself, this boy is nuts. And you know what happened? Everything that he wrote there came true. And it all came
They always, what do they say, Brian? They say anything you do in preparation for a situation like this will look alarmist when you do it, and it'll look insufficient when you look back at it.
Yeah. So because his wife was a doctor, he knew everything that was going on.
Yeah.
So as far as business is concerned, I can tell you that, when the city closed down, that was it. There was no legal business. There was no condo business. There wasn't a car on the road.
Yeah.
I felt that, I was going to the office because there was nobody in my building and there was nobody in my office except for two people, nobody. And I felt that I was going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger walking down the street with a machine gun. There wasn't a soul. There wasn't a car. There wasn't a person. It was eerie. So everything closed up. And I would say that, the office here, everybody is working remotely. People are starting to slowly come back. We've always had 3 people in the office, always. And now we have 5 to 6. So people are starting to come back. We were busy throughout, not new business because everything shut, in the first, 4 weeks or 6 weeks of COVID. But we had a lot of existing business that we were working with. And then as COVID continued, we became very active with, condo corporations, board members, managers asking us, what can we do in phase 1? What's closed? What can we do in phase 2? Are we allowed to have our construction move forward that we had planned in the springtime? What about landscaping? So all these things were very important. Similarly, a lot of things that were important was ongoing or in-suite renovations or renovations to come, where unfortunately there were people in condos, some very understanding and some not at all, that despite the issues, despite the pandemic, despite the fact how easy it was or is to catch the virus, they wanted to have their kitchen cabinets put in. And so we had all of these issues and policies that we were drafting for condo corporations. And we were trying to assist the boards to manage the situation. Now, as people started to get, more used to the situation, as things started to get better, and I tell you, it was so awful in the beginning. It was like, you'd go home every night, and the first thing I would do is I turn on the TV, because I'm an old person. Most people would turn on the internet and you check out how many people got COVID today. That was what you did. Oh, so there's 400 cases today. Aha. And you'd feel terrible. I did that every single night. And it got to the point where, you're making yourself crazy. So as things started to, normalize, as less people started to get sick, we were advising the corporations on what they should be doing. And we were very busy with that. And that's really what's been happening. I want to say just one other thing. One of the effects of COVID, and I don't know how you feel over there, Sally, is somehow the day became one.
Yeah.
The day became one. There was no more morning, afternoon, evening. It was one day, and the one day became 7 days. So you didn't work from Monday to Friday, and you didn't work from 9 to 5. You were at home or in the office just working,
Yeah.
and you never went home or you never went out, and so there was no, there was no stop of your day, and there was no Saturday and Sunday. It just was one long day, like that movie, that Bill Murray's movie, where every day was the same day.
Little
So
Groundhog Day. I know.
that's
I
the
think
one.
people have lost track. People have lost track even of the months. I think that there's due
So
dates coming up on people that are surprising them because we still feel like we're in March and here we are in June. So
we're just been, it's just been one day since they shut down the province. We never went to the second day.
yeah,
So
exactly.
the
I
good thing
mean,
is, I think we can get haircuts now.
oh,
Not
is
that
that
you
right?
need one, because honestly, you look gorgeous. I have to tell you.
Thank you. You look hairier than I'm used to, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'd
It
like to
means
get
you've
a
been
haircut.
being good.
It's, I think, at least a 2 or 3 week delay to get a haircut now.
Oh, is that right? Eh? There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. So what do you think? I mean, obviously we've got some pretty distressing news this week about how the United States is kind of going off the deep end, unfortunately. I think Ontario is doing a little bit better. Um, where does that leave your head? Like, what do you think is going to happen going forward here? Do you think we're going to hold it together, or do you think we're going to follow our American neighbors, or what do you think?
Well, I think that people need to be vigilant. I think COVID is out there. I don't want to be melodramatic, but it is a serious issue. It is a killer. You have to continue listening to the province of Ontario's recommendations. You need to wash your hands. You need to have areas for sanitization. You need to wear your mask. It's not a joke. And the only way that we can see the end, the only way we can see the sun shine at the end of the day is if we all work together, because we are all in it together. It just
Mm-hmm.
takes one person not to do social distancing, not to be careful. That one person who, God forbid, can catch this terrible disease, this virus, can spread it unwittingly to many people who themselves unwittingly can spread it to many, many people. So we are not out of the woods. The fact that we're in stage 2 is wonderful. The fact that, restaurant patios are open is great. The fact that, we can go out of the house, take a walk, with, again, always with social distancing and washing hands, etc., actually go and get a haircut. Wow. These are all good things. But this can boomerang if people are not careful, and we'll be back, right? Back to the beginning. When I go, and they've coined this phrase now, COVIDiots. And when I see these people, down at the beaches in, sharing beer and having parties, like, I get it. Everybody is so sick and tired of this existence that we're all having, and nobody's used to the solitude and, I guess for a lot of people, loneliness. Everybody wants to just go out. They've had enough. But we're still in this period, and we need to be vigilant for the next 6 months to a year. So I don't see the end coming like so quickly. I know that the government is doing the best they can, and I know that, Doug Ford wants to keep everybody's spirits up. I get all of that. But to me, we have to acknowledge what it is, and to be extending the emergency period from week to week or every 2 weeks. And now I think it's extended to July 30th. Well, it's not realistic, because as soon as you say the emergency period has expired, then there are no more restrictions. And you're not going to tell me that you're going to go from a restriction right now of 10 people in a social setting, or 30% capacity at a religious venue or wedding, or 50 people outside. You're not going to go from that to like thousands of people. Let's have a party. You're not going there. So let's be realistic. This emergency order is going to be extended for quite some time. So, if the idea is to give people hope, it's really not appropriate. You're not going to, rescind the emergency period on July 30th. So let's all agree And as they say, let's put on our big boy pants and let's agree that this thing's going to be like this for the next 6 months to a year. Let's all say it because that's what it is. I think the good thing is that people, as far as I'm concerned, the condo business, people somehow in the last few weeks have mentally turned the page. Why have they turned the page? I can tell you the last 3 weeks, you know, the business in the office is booming. For better or for worse, people are fighting again. We got smoke, we have smoke issues, we have noise issues, we have dog issues, we have harassment issues. Hey, welcome back. We're all back. We're back.
Sad but true. Well, like you said, hopefully people keep playing nicely. I think one of my favorite quotes I've seen in the news in the last few days was, I think, a professor in the States who said, being out in public without a mask on is like drunk driving. You may get home, but you may take somebody out on the way, right? So be careful out there.
Do you remember when COVID first, you know, became a thing? If you saw people with masks, they were like, weird. What's wrong with those people? And now it's like the opposite. If you're not wearing a mask, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, and I just hope in Canada we can keep that, we see it as a sign of respect. You know, that I'm wearing this mask to protect the people around me, as opposed to in the States where it seems to be seen as a sign of weakness, as if you're trying to hide yourself, which is the wrong message. So I'm hoping we keep the right message here, but I think people need to be talking about it and kind of leading by examples, which I hope most people are doing, I think. So that's good. So just to close, Brian, what are you grateful for right now?
I'm grateful that you called me because I'm so lonely.
You're funny.
Well, I guess one of the things that, if I can say a good thing that came out of this, there's not much good. You know, my kids who are living on their own, they came back to the house because 2 of them live in a condo, which is has a huge short-term rental issue, and certainly we didn't want them in the condo during this period of time, and the other one lives somewhere else. So they all came back. That was very nice for me. I don't know if it was
so that explains why you're working out of your office, does it?
Well, I'm getting there, Sally. That wasn't so great for my wife because everybody assumed their old positions, like, Ma, what's for supper? It's like, you guys live on your own. You went to university. You're working. What is it, Ma? What's for supper? Do it yourself. And I'm like, doesn't anybody take out the garbage here except me? So it's all nice, but, you know, it's nice to be all together. Yeah. But it could be a little bit, how would you say?
It's a little bit close, right? Yeah, but you know what? It's awesome to spend the time with your kids and kind of reconnect again, because we have my daughter home as well, and it's been really awesome to spend this time with her. And you get in each other's face a little bit.
Anybody doing the cooking in your place except you?
We're not going to talk about that, Brian.
Okay. I'll speak to Bob, your husband. I'll tell him what he has to do over here.
Okay, well, it's been really nice chatting with you, Brian, and thanks for joining me for this CCI check-in, and stay well and keep